These experiments are top secret.
You can inject your eyes to have night vision. We're talking things where bullets won't miss.
Is the Army still working with psychics?
He said, "Sir, you are doing the work of the devil, and you will burn in the fires of hell."
My name is Christopher Garetano, and I've spent my whole life exploring the darkest mysteries on Earth. Following that passion, I made a film that helped inspire the hit series Stranger Things. Now I'm digging even deeper into our strange world.
I'm near White Sands, New Mexico. It's an apropos location for this subject and the beginning of our journey, as it's the very spot where in 1945 the very first nuclear test occurred. The atom bomb.
America is now the world's greatest superpower, consistently developing new missiles, planes, and bombs. But it's not just the hardware that's getting enhanced. It's the soldiers themselves.
I've seen evidence of invisibility cloaks, special sight, augmented strength and speed, intelligence.
I'm on a mission to uncover the secret world of super soldiers.
So we're in Alamogordo, New Mexico, and we're on our way to speak to a man who was part of a secret government program. It's called Project Stargate.
During the Cold War, the US government believed that the Soviet Union was training psychic spies that could conduct surveillance of America's most sensitive secrets without crossing the Iron Curtain. America's answer to the unseen threat was Project Stargate.
They were trying to create the perfect warrior by enhancing our innate psychic abilities. I've tracked down one of the last surviving members of Project Stargate. His name is Lynn Buchanan. Lynn, thanks so much for having me in your home.
Oh, thank you for
really
coming.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
What year did you join Project Stargate?
That was in 1984.
Can you tell me about your background and why you were recruited?
I was a linguist and computer operator and programmer. And all of my life, one of the things that has been a burden, if I get angry, things fall off shelves, computers fry, things like that.
So wait a second, you're saying that when you get mad, you can move things with your brain?
Yeah. I had suppressed that as hard as I could all my life. And a general heard about it. So he took me out to Fort Meade, Maryland, and put me into this little unit that had like 6 people in it.
Lynn had no idea he'd been recruited as a psychic spy.
They took me in and told what the remote viewing unit did.
Remote viewing is a technique used to see objects that are hidden or far away using only the mind.
You can target down to 10 feet anywhere in the world and describe what's there. We could read documents that were locked in safes halfway around the world.
If what Lynn's saying is true, he and his unit could spy on foreign governments, top secret plans, even locate hostages, without ever leaving Fort Meade.
Yeah, I'd love to see how this works. You still have these abilities, of course.
Yeah,
My producers have prepared a test of Lynn's remote viewing abilities. They've placed 10 different photographs into a brown envelope. Even I don't know what's inside.
so pick a number from 1 to 10.
6.
6, okay. Now, the target is number 6. Okay, let's start. I've got that there's water and at least 2 man-mades, okay? The water, salty taste, splashing sounds, motor sounds. Okay, man-made number 1. Small, pointed, moving. Man-made number 2, big. I'm getting something like this with little square windows on different levels. Floating. Okay. Session end.
Okay.
That's what I got, and so open the envelope, look at the 6th target and see what it is.
Okay. Wow.
What do you have?
I have what you were describing. See the boat with the
Oh,
windows?
it's a little boat, a big ship
Yep.
on choppy waters.
Yeah.
And
Especially
this-
with the windows.
And at no point did I ever know what the target was.
It's amazing. This must be a psychic ability. It must be.
Where the information comes from and where the subconscious gets it, I don't know, and I don't care. If we can find a missing soldier and bring him home alive, that's all we cared about in the unit.
I'm shocked by Lynn's ability. The potential of remote viewing is astounding. If the government can see anything hidden anywhere, no secret is safe.
Well, is there anyone else that you suggest I talk to in my journey?
I would suggest that you talk to Joe McMonigal at the Monroe Institute. Joe was viewer 001.
I'm really eager to hear what Joe has to say, so I've traveled to Faber, Virginia to meet with him.
Joe McMonigal was handpicked by the U.S. government to train to remote view.
Why do you want to meet with Joseph?
He was the very first psychic in one of the government programs that were creating super soldiers, essentially, Project Stargate. We've just arrived at the Monroe Institute.
The Monroe Institute is regarded as the preeminent remote viewing center in the world. I've come here to learn about mind enhancement from the first remote viewer, Joe McMonigal, and gain some insight into the psychic operations he once carried out for the government.
So, I want to know about your history, what you did personally, and who you worked for, especially in Project Stargate.
The first job I ever did for the CIA, actually, it was a project called Gondola Wish. We were asked to identify hostages that had been taken in one of the American embassies.
At this time in Iran, 50 Americans are still held captive, innocent victims of terrorism and anarchy. And such an assault will be repelled by any means necessary, including military force.
Once the embassy was taken over, the CIA needed to know exactly who was being held hostage. And with no operatives in Tehran, The agency was willing to try anything to gather intelligence. The experimental remote viewing program was their only option.
We were able to identify a large proportion of those hostages. Had we not identified them, they could have been whisked away somewhere and tortured to death. This stuff works. When we first started, a lot of people thought it was a joke. 6 months in, it wasn't a joke anymore.
My mission to see how far the government is willing to go to create super soldiers has led me to Joe McMoneagle, the first member of Project Stargate, a secret government program that harnessed its recruits' psychic abilities to collect intelligence on America's adversaries.
The National Security Council, they came to us and said, "Can you help us?" It was a large building in Russia, north of the Arctic Circle. Something was going on inside the building. It was the largest building under a single roof anywhere in the world. It had twin chain-link fences with barbed wire around it, dogs. They had trains coming in loaded with materials and going out empty. And for more than a year and a half, they had tried to find out what was going on in that building.
No spies could get in. No surveillance could see in, so the intelligence agencies turned to Joe McMoneagle and the remote viewers at Project Stargate for answers.
We did remote viewings on the building, and the decision we came to is they were building a huge submarine that could stand 100 miles off of America and hit every major city in 20 minutes with nuclear weapons. If we had never done the remote viewing on that particular target, no one in America would have ever known about that threat. And it's a horrible threat.
McMoneagle's claims seem fantastic, but declassified CIA documents confirm his story. Remote viewing may have been America's last line of defense from a nuclear holocaust.
Under scientific conditions, I've been able to produce remote viewings where 99% of the information provided was dead accurate.
Is the Army still working with psychics?
No, not at all. The program was closed down by the CIA in November of 1995.
After the project was declassified, the government issued an official report claiming that Project Stargate was too unreliable to continue. But Joe begs to differ.
We supported them on over 171 occasions. They kept coming back because we were successful. Here's the problem. It was more of a political decision than not. We weren't liked by a lot of people. I had a senator point his finger at me once when he saw a remote viewing I'd done, and he said, "Sir, you were doing the work of the devil, and you will burn in the fires of hell."
I've been fascinated by this my entire life. And even as a kid, I was trying to somehow develop those psychic abilities. I've had experiences that I couldn't fully explain. I would love to try this through your method.
You want to do an experiment? We can do an experiment.
Yes, please.
Yeah. You don't learn anything to be a world-class remote viewer. A world-class remote viewer unlearns all the bad habits that you learned since you were a child. Most people get the first impression, they put it down on paper, and then they take off in a flight of fantasy. What I teach people here is I teach them to not do that. All I want you to do when you do this is I just want you to close your eyes and think about emptying your mind of all thoughts. There's an envelope here, it's called a target envelope, and that has a photograph in it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna task you with telling me something about what's in this envelope, okay? I'd like you to just relax. Just tell me whatever pops into your head first. Okay?
Triangle. Many triangles.
Okay, draw something about your perceptions of what the photograph is in that envelope. Now, I as a judge will open this up. And I'm going to look at the picture and see if there's anything in here that relates to that. And there is. Okay. You take this envelope and open it up and look at the photograph.
Interesting.
You got a first place match.
Yeah.
Okay? And you see this, see the triangles on
I
it?
see them, yeah, and there were many of them.
Yeah.
And that immediately came to mind, immediately.
Mm-hmm. That's how remote viewing works, in a very simple way. But look what you did.
Yeah, it's amazing. Wow. I don't think the CIA actually shut down Project Stargate. Something tells me that if they spent all this money and time developing something with success, why on earth would they shut it down? They told people that they stopped using it, but I think they continued.
If Project Stargate was so successful, might there be other programs still trying to use psychic abilities as a weapon?
I'm here in Mecca, California, by the Salton Sea. I'm about a few hundred yards away from the compound of a man named Pete Russo. He's a Vietnam veteran, former member of the 1st Earth Battalion, a government program from the late 1970s that used New Age principles to train super soldiers. They were called the men who stare at goats. Rumor has it, one of these soldiers actually killed a goat using only his mind.
Pete, thank you so much for having me here. So, what really is the 1st Earth Battalion?
Well, it started out, born out of war with Colonel Channon. He's the founder of the 1st Earth Battalion. He was a 101st Airborne Commander, 2 tours in Vietnam, and that's where he started his quest of trying to understand intuition, basically. You know, how do some people know things and other people don't? He initially wanted to understand why one point person could sense danger and trouble, and the other ones just walk you right into an ambush. So Colonel Channon started to ask the question, what's the difference? And if he could figure out what that difference, could he teach it to other people? And that kind of started the whole genesis of the super soldier.
In 1979, Jim Channon drew up an operations manual for a new breed of soldier. He envisioned a unit of warrior monks at peace with the planet, capable of deadly force using only their minds.
His first thing was just to get, you know, when you fight somebody, a fight begins and ends in your mind, period, and the rest is easy. As you project what you want to do, you can even project images into their head, and they don't know where they come from, and they act on it. They think they know what you're going to do next. And then they attack, and then they die quickly.
Do you do that with a suggestive movement, or this is
Nope.
all psychic
All
projection?
psychic.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, as you know, the whole men who stare at goat stories in pop culture, there was a book written, a movie made. Did you have anything to do with that?
Well, absolutely.
Well, speaking of which, is it possible to
kill an animal and even a human being with your mind?
Potentially, the answer is yes.
So why... The 1st Earth Battalion was something that operated within the government. When did it stop?
I'm not so sure it has completely stopped.
You know, my entire life I've been fascinated by psychic abilities, and I'm hoping, after what I've heard, you could show me an example of it actually working.
Well, maybe if you want to come back tonight, we might be able to put something together that will blow your mind.
Remember, there's hunter-killer teams out.
I do.
As agreed, I'm returning to Pete's compound. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into.
What's in store for me tonight?
We're going to take you out and drop you off in the desert. We're going to have a hostage here, and you've got to come in, get the hostage, and take them out to the campagna out there, and the game ends. Oh, I forgot to tell you one more thing. We have a hunter-killer team that's going to hunt you down and try to kill you.
My investigation into super soldiers has brought me to Pete Brusso's training compound. Now, I'm getting a first-hand look at how psychic projection is used on the battlefield. I'm participating in a training drill to free Haley, my producer, who's being held hostage, all while a hunter-killer team will try to stop me.
You know, it's pretty exhilarating because I'm not exactly sure what to expect.
All right, let's pull out.
I'm going to be dropped off 400 yards from the house with my guide, Carrie. I'll have to use my psychic intuition to find my way back, save Haley, and avoid the hunter-killer team along the way.
So I'm gonna allow you to take the lead. Where's the house from here? Where's our target?
It's down this way to the left,
Okay.
and then back.
And what do we do when we get there?
We have to free the hostage.
I see. Now, I do want to warn you, I do know some booby traps were placed. I don't know exactly where. What they are glow sticks with a long fish line attached to them. You won't see them as you're walking up. But if you trip the wire, that's the same as tripping an explosive. You can get started in there.
Let's go.
Okay? Chris, I want you to stop and think a minute.
Yes.
I want you to remember there's hunter-killer teams out. How does it feel if you know somebody is actually coming to kill you? Would you be going this nonchalantly through here? No. Put your mind in that mindset.
Okay.
And think about making your footsteps lighter. Okay, take about 100 pounds off your weight. Think light. You're not making nearly as much of a clunking sound.
There's a dog.
Picture yourself not here. Picture yourself about 100 yards further. The dog won't pay as much attention.
The dog will give away our position unless we can find a way to quiet him with psychic projection.
Give the dog a steak. Close your eyes as you're walking and picture that dog eating a steak.
Projecting the image.
He's settling down. It's weird, but it works.
No, it did.
And you just saw
it.
it.
It's amazing.
Keep the picture in your mind of what's happening, and your subconscious will automatically pick up those clues for you.
I see a booby trap. So there's a booby trap here. Spotted it back there. We're just trying to figure out exactly where it's going across, what part of the path. But we're getting close.
Good spotting.
We should go dead ahead then, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm starting to pick up signals in my subconscious, becoming more aware of my surroundings.
Yeah, so what's going on?
Drop down low. Just drop down. And now just cease to exist. Just drop your head. You're part of the bush. Probably to some degree at this point actually sense there was something there.
Yes. Maybe we should use the sound of the train to move in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I think they're behind us.
Move quickly. So our head. So our head. Move quickly.
Where's my hostage? Get over here.
I'm walking.
Okay. Come on. Come on. And touchdown.
My mission is a success. I freed Haley, and I'm excited to share my experiences with Pete and Carrie.
Christopher, on the night outs, what psychic projections and things that you actually tried to use, and some of it worked?
What was strikingly effective is when we passed by the dog.
Dogs.
When we both projected the image of a steak, the dog stopped barking.
I don't know if I'm particularly leaving here as more of a super soldier, but I think they gave me a better tap into my psychic abilities.
But I am convinced the government is still tapped into this kind of mental enhancement, and then some.
The more research I do into these early government programs, and even modern ones, it seems like the lines between fiction and reality are blurred. I believe that anything is possible at this point.
It's suspected that the Defense Department's Research Division, DARPA, is already experimenting with computer chips implanted into soldiers' brains. A squad could then communicate telepathically or control robots with their minds. DARPA has refused to talk to me about this project or any others, so I'm reaching out to someone with insider knowledge.
So I'm about to talk to Dr. Paul Zier. He's a neuroscientist and an author, and he wrote a book called Chasing Captain America.
He's enthusiastic about human enhancement, but also shares some of my concerns about what we may become.
Hello.
Hello, Paul. You know, reading through your book, I think the first feeling would be how fiction now has crossed the line into reality and how fast it's moving. Can we go down the list of possibilities and things that exist right now?
We now have multiple technologies that involve brain stimulation. We know that we can take various drugs, smart pills. We could be creating chimeras where we create a human, but who has also now some injections from another animal that would allow the brain or the muscle, whatever the system is, to function better.
It's amazing.
We can do gene edits in muscle, and that can be a simple injection. And that right away, within a number of days, you'd be 30% stronger than you were before.
I'm astonished. These ideas and these experiments at one time, not too long ago, were top secret. You know, they wouldn't reveal it to the public. Why is it that they're telling us about this stuff now?
It means that whatever they're sharing with you is probably 5 or 10 years ago. I think those things that they are now sharing with you are either about to be or have been already used.
So they're preparing us for something. What's your honest prediction right now as to where this is going to go?
The biggest issue here is we don't know where all these things will go.
This looks like a regular set of headphones, but
It's a motor cortex neurostimulator.
Technologies that you're developing, what exactly is the next phase?
2, 1.
My investigation into the development of superhuman capabilities has taken me all over the country.
Some of these military technologies being declassified could help millions of people, like pain immunizations or synthetic blood, while others, like bulletproof skin, are aimed at developing the perfect soldier.
And now I'm here at Arizona State University. Now I want to see how a normal human being can be altered by a new piece of technology. I've recently received a lead that right now, in a lab here at the university, technologies are being developed to enhance the modern warrior on the battlefield.
I'm meeting with Jason Karestas. He's an engineer on the front lines, working to transform average grunts into super soldiers.
Jason, thank you
Yeah, man.
for having me here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
So what are some of the products or technology that you're developing here?
Well, one of the things that we're developing here is a jetpack that allows soldiers to have superhuman speed.
Jason built the jetpack with aircraft-grade aluminum. It's powered by 2 high-speed electric motors and high-density lithium batteries.
You just said a jetpack. I mean, I'm starting to think of some superheroes that I've read about.
So for example, if you imagine the perfect superhuman, you have one that's high-speed running, you have one that's super jumps, you have one that's being able to fly.
Technologies that you're developing, the jetpack, what exactly is the next phase?
I can't get too deep into some of it, but there's so many other things out there. You can inject your eyes to have night vision. There's things to stabilize your hand to have the perfect shot. We're talking things where bullets won't miss, even if you aren't aiming at somebody. The bullet, you know, I don't want to get too deep.
No, it's amazing stuff. It seems like anything you can think of eventually will be invented.
Yeah, the technologies are boundless.
Jason's promised to let me try out the jetpack so I can get a sense of the possibilities.
All right, well, now it's time for you to try on the jetpack.
His project was funded by the Department of Defense. I've discovered it's one of the many government initiatives aimed at creating super soldiers.
So
All right.
how do I operate this thing?
So basically, you've got a wireless controller. So the more thrust you want, the further you push this forward and the faster you're gonna go.
Thank you. Okay, let's do this.
The jetpack's fans can generate up to 15 pounds of thrust, propelling the runner forward and slightly off the ground. The average person tops out at around 10 miles an hour. Jason says some runners wearing his device can reach up to 26 miles an hour in short bursts. That's nearly as fast as a world record sprinter.
Go!
I'm in the Arizona desert, where an engineer named Jason Karestas is showing me some cutting-edge technology he developed at Arizona State University.
3, 2, 1, go! Right on, man.
Whoa!
How'd that feel?
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, can you feel a difference?
Yeah, I could feel a difference.
Right on.
That's crazy. Give me a battle scenario. What would a soldier do with this on the battlefield?
So imagine that I'm a bad guy right here, or let's say, you know, somebody off in the field is sniping you, and you need to make it to that bunker. Your life literally depends on every second, and if you can get there 5 seconds faster, 10 seconds faster, or if it's a mile, if you can get there in 4 minutes versus 7 minutes, that's potentially saving your life.
So fantastic.
You know, we see a lot of potential with these in the future. Really, the sky's the limit in terms of what we can do with a jetpack.
The jetpack is still in its prototype phase. But I can't help but to envision a future in which an entire unit of super soldiers blaze across the battlefield.
I expected it to be amazing, and it was. As soon as I turned on the jets and started running, it was exactly what I hoped it to be. I had 4 or 5 times the power as a runner than I normally do. This is clearly just the tip of the spear. We talk about super soldiers. Imagine a full suit assisted with every movement. It's mind-blowing, it really is.
It's safe to say the government is working around the clock, trying to find ways to make our troops stronger, faster, and deadlier.
But there's another piece to this puzzle. What about mental stimulation? I've done my research on an apparatus that actually stimulates the brain for optimal learning. And I'm here in San Francisco to see how it works. Daniel, thanks for meeting me here. I want to learn about what your co-invention is about and what it does.
It's called Halo Sport. Halo Sport is just a marketing word for a motor cortex neurostimulator. So this looks like a regular set of headphones, but what's different is this piece. So these are actually electrodes.
The headset creates an electric field that stimulates neurons in the motor cortex, the part of the brain that controls movement. The more neurons stimulated, the faster a skill can be learned.
So does the military have an interest in your technology? Have they been using it?
The military is our biggest customer.
Wow.
A portion of what makes a sharpshooter is steady hand, steady eye, steady body. For that physical part, we could accelerate the gains at which snipers are developed through that movement training.
All right. Well, I am ready to give it a shot.
It seems fairly straightforward. A baseline test of 10 shots to measure my current skills. A 20-minute period of neurostimulation training, and then a final round of 10 shots to see whether I've improved.
Just fire off 10 shots to the best of your ability.
Okay.
All right, let's take a look at how you did. This is great. We've got some that are right in the middle, but there's, definitely some that are further from that. So, let's see if we can make you better yet.
Sounds good.
Now it's time for the training session. I'll wear the Halo headset for 20 minutes. The device will stimulate my brain and hopefully accelerate my learning ability.
So just go ahead and put this on like a regular set of headphones.
How's that? Is that good?
That's perfect.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to hit start, and you should hear a beep.
I did.
And it'll slowly ramp up over 30 seconds.
It's a strange tingling sensation, but not entirely unpleasant. It's hard to believe it's actually affecting my brain.
Is that okay?
That's fine. Okay, let's try this again.
My investigation into the government programs aimed at producing super soldiers has led me to the Halo headset, a groundbreaking device that uses electricity to accelerate learning.
You've got your baseline set, doing a bunch of training with the headset and neurostimulation. Now let's see how much better you got.
After 20 minutes of neurostimulation training, I'm ready for my final test.
Let's take a look at how you did. Here are your baseline shots. And you can see we only got 3 in the bullseye versus after practicing with neurostimulation. And the majority of the shots are in the center. I mean, so much so that we're tearing a hole in the paper here.
You know, I certainly feel a better focus right now. You said the military is using this. I'm sure they've had a noteworthy improvement, no?
As the military is famous for, they're a little secretive. So it's, it's tough to tell as to exactly what kind of results that they're getting, but like we are seeing continued use with them.
From the beginning, with programs like Project Stargate, to now, modern technology is now pushing the limits of the super soldier. But how far has our government gone to maintain our dominance? And what is it truly capable of? There's only one thing I know for sure. As long as America is committed to being a global superpower, it will never stop trying to create the ultimate warrior.